All right, last step after doing your cuff and your toe is to put the afterthought heel. I'm going to show you how to do what's called a Kirby Werby heel. It is a full, real, true afterthought heel, but it's not going to allow for any kind of holes on the side. So sometimes when you put in an afterthought heel, you get a little tiny gap here where the white meets the new color, or the contrast color meets the color of your sock. I'm going to teach you a way so that that does not happen. Okay, so first step, oops, sorry about that, I hit the table. The first step is going to be to insert your needle. So we're going to do the same thing, picking up the right leg of the stitch as we've done all these other times before. So remember, we marked off our heel placement. So we're going to go into the right leg, the right leg of every stitch above where that marker is. Most of you have a 64 stitch tube. If you have something different, make sure you are only picking up half the number of stitches required of the whole sock. I'm using two 24-inch circs for this. You guys could use a 32-inch magic loop. It's whatever is your preference. So you're going to go into the right hand leg of every stitch all the way across. And then you just want to go back and make sure you have 32. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. So now you're going to pull that onto the cord. You don't need the needle there. That makes it a little challenging. And then you're going to leave one row in between, and you're going to pick up the right leg underneath that row. So you go like this, and you go all the way across here. 1, 8, 9, here comes the dog again, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So now I have all 32 on the top needle and the bottom needle, and I have one row of stitches between where I had placed my marker. Okay, so take some time and get that done. And now we have to cut that yarn in the middle, okay? So this part seems scary, but this is, in my opinion, the most fun of the whole sock because it's like true magic. So you no longer need your little markers on the side. You can get rid of those. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pick up the legs of one of the stitches, you know, in the middle here, like right in the middle, and you're just going to pick up the ones of the row that's not been caught with your needle. So it's one of the stitches on that row between. So you're going to pick it up with your tapestry needle and give it a tug. That's because you're going to cut that. And if you accidentally cut the ones that's held on your cord, you would be very sad. So you're going to give that a tug, and then you're going to use your scissors, your very sharp scissors, and you're going to snip it. And now you're going to do that unraveling that we've already done, except this time you're going to unravel and you're going to leave 1 and 2 on the top and the bottom. You're going to leave those connected in the middle on each side. So I'll show you what I mean. Sometimes it's easier to stick your hand in and give it a little look like this. So you unpick that row, and once it gets going, it's significantly easier. It takes a minute. So once you get the groove of where you're pulling out of, you're just gonna pull and feel that opening get bigger. As you can see, my hands is in the middle of that there. This is where some people would do the same process, but putting in waste yarn, and then you remove the waste yarn. This is just a way of removing one row of the yarn of the body of the sock that you've knit or that you've had cranked, and you don't have to add any waste yarn. Like, it's just, you're removing one row of it, but then you're gonna knit a row around in your contrasting color. So it's all good to go. So you wanna just unpick that all the way until you have just 2 stitches held on either side. If this is bothering you, you could trim it, but be careful. Don't trim too much, or you won't have enough to weave in later. Sure, I'm getting close on this side. Okay, so you could see I still have this yarn wrapped around the 3rd stitches. So now it's no longer on the 3rd stitch on the top or the 3rd stitch on the bottom. Okay, so now you're going to just take this little tail and it's going to go inside the sock. Okay, now we unpick this side. Pick. I actually think I did not go in the middle because this side seems a lot shorter to get to the end. So you're just gonna unpick the stitches, and if you kind of spread apart the sock with your hand inside it, it makes it easier. So you're gonna unpick until you've got 2 left on this side as well, and then I'll show you the next step with our contrast color. And there is the last little blip that is being held onto there. So like the other one, you just stick it inside. So now you have this big gaping hole ready for your heel. Okay. So for your heel, you're going to slide your needle and you're going to just join to work in the round. And it's going to feel a little tight when you get here, but it's like magic. So let me show you. You grab your new yarn and you're just going to knit around the row on the first row. And when you get to the end where you have left those 2 stitches, you just keep knitting just as normal. You don't have to do anything different. Those stitches are just being held there for you. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I wish I knew how to speed up parts of the video. Maybe I'll have to learn that. Okay, so now we're at the last couple stitches. So you just get there and they're still connected, but it just doesn't matter. You just knit it like normal. It doesn't change anything. And then you turn around and knit across the first row on the other needle. So once again, these are connected, but it doesn't seem any different. Nothing is different. You just knit it, no big deal. And you will not get a hole or anything on your heel. So you're gonna get all the way to the end here, and you're going to do essentially your toe again. You're gonna do the exact same thing that we did this. You're gonna follow the same pattern for your toe as we did for, you're gonna do the same pattern for your heel as we just did for your toe. And then Kitchener one more time, and then you have a whole sock. So I'm just gonna show you one more time when I get to the edge here, what it looks like, but you won't even be able to feel anything. Like it's just the magic of whatever this is. The guy who came up with it, or whoever came up with it, named it the Kirby Werby. So that's what we call it. I wish I created it. It's genius. So here we are at the very end of our last 3 stitches. They're connected, and then you just keep going, and that's literally it. You're gonna take your tail, you're gonna make sure your tail of your contrast yarn is gonna get tucked in here as you go, because that would be annoying if you had to weave it in later. So just give it a tug, and then you move on, and you're gonna start doing your decreases for your heel, the same as you did for a toe. And then when you're all done, you get a perfect sock from a tube.